Good afternoon, I'm Devin Michael with the fifth program in the Limbwalkers series concerning work ethics certification for high school students. My guest is Sharon Catania, Human Resources Director at St. Mary Medical Center. Welcome to our program, Sharon.
Thank you.
So, the topic of today's show is having good hygiene and dressing well. Why did you choose this topic, Sharon?
Well, working in human resources, it's very important that everyone understand the importance of looking appropriate in the workplace, and I do that for a living, so that was natural for me to pick.
What does good hygiene entail?
Well, you want to be neat and orderly and just clean. You can't come with dirty hair, dirty fingernails, wrinkled clothes, things like that. So you want to make sure that you're presentable at all times.
What would you look for to determine if a person is exhibiting good hygiene? Is it just the things that you mentioned there, or is there more to it?
No, make sure your clothes are clean also. That's really important because it truly is a reflection of how you're going to perform at work or interact with your customers and things like that.
Good hygiene is especially important if you work in the medical field or some kind of scientific research, but how necessary is it if you're employed at other jobs?
Oh, I think it's important overall for any industry that you're in because, again, it's a reflection of how you are going to present yourself. Every industry works with people, and nobody wants to be either serviced or taken care of by somebody who can't even take care of themselves appropriately.
How important is it to dress well? Could it affect whether you advance in your career or just stay at the same level?
Absolutely. It could affect how you advance in your career. A long time ago, one of my leaders advised me you should always be dressing for your next position, the promotion that you want, working towards that goal. So it's very important because, again, it shows that you have that dedication and put forth that effort to look appropriate.
Does dressing well have different meanings for different careers? For example, would someone applying for a job as a lawyer or doctor dress totally different than someone applying for a job in a factory as an artist or a fast food restaurant?
Absolutely. You have to know your industry. So, for example, in healthcare, it would not be appropriate to come showing tattoos and ear piercings and things like that. But if you're going for an artist job or something in Chicago, that might be more appropriate. So you have to know your audience of where you're going and what the dress is.
What kind of dress would someone who works in a professional job wear? Would this also include teachers or college professors?
Yeah, I would say that it would include teachers and college professors also. You want to make sure that you have business attire at all times. In healthcare, it's important that women have to wear nylons, whereas in other industries, you might not have to do that. You have to have your toes closed and make sure that you protect yourself, from any objects that might be sharp and things like that. So you have to know what your industry is in order to dress appropriately.
How can you help someone if they're already on the job and have exhibited questionable hygiene practices without offending them?
Right. That's a very delicate subject. In me being in human resources, I have to help managers do that at times where they might have somebody who doesn't smell appropriately or, they're not clearly taking showers, things like that. So I will work with the management team to coach them and we'll kind of role play before they actually meet with their employee. And we always start out by saying this is not going to be an easy conversation, but it's something that we need to address.
So how about if they're dressing inappropriately for the job? Is it kind of the same thing?
Same thing. So most employers have a dress code that you have to abide by. And if people aren't wearing the appropriate things, then the leaders have to address that with the staff members.
Can you determine if someone has good hygiene habits and dresses well during just the job interview?
Absolutely. That's really important that I indicate that if you come and you're not prepared dress-wise for the interview, that's going to skew our determination, and you might not get the job even if you have the best credentials around.
So if someone comes into an interview with clothes that are wrinkled and not fitting well, and they're maybe wearing sports shoes, what sort of impression would you have of that person?
I would say that they didn't prepare for the interview, and they might even be portrayed as lazy. And it could be just a perception, but that's how important it is to look appropriate when you come in for an interview.
Was there ever a situation where you could wear casual clothes to an interview, or is this something you should pretty much always avoid?
Well, I guess it would depend on I would recommend that you always wear at least some khaki pants or, a polo shirt or something like that. Even I frown upon students wearing jeans to interviews and things like that. Even if you're interviewing at a fast food place, I would always recommend that you dress up a little bit to go.
Do you have any tips for students concerning good hygiene and dressing well?
The best tip would be just always try and look your best and put forth that effort, because it is going to be noticed by your teachers, your fellow students, and again, you're always going to be dressing for that next level of your career, your education, things like that.
What is the importance of this work ethic?
Well, again, if you are not dressed appropriately or taking care of yourself, that's going to be a reflection of how you might perform at your job. So if you look and feel good, you're going to be empowered to do more and perform at a higher level.
So do you have any final tips, any final info regarding it that you'd like to share?
Yeah, I would just say, again, make sure that you look presentable at all times, because you never know when you're going to be meeting your next boss.
All right, and that's all the questions I've got. So thank you for being my guest, Sharon. That was Sharon Catania, Human Resources Director at St. Mary Medical Center. Today we discussed the topic, Have Good Hygiene and Dress Well, and why this is an important work ethic. Limbwalkers usually comes to you on the first Tuesday of each month at 4 p.m., but since we weren't able to record it due to school closing last week, the program will be aired on Wednesday. It will return to the first Tuesday next month. This program is also available on YouTube, and stay tuned for a new topic and guest on the next program. I'm Devin Michael. Thank you for listening.